The Harry Potter series was a part of my childhood. I read the books and watched the films, but when it came to video games, I had never played any of them. When the gameplay of Hogwarts Legacy was first revealed, my curiosity was ignited. Despite the controversy surrounding the release of this game, I was still looking forward to stepping into Hogwarts and embarking on my legacy. What I was not prepared for was how immersed I was going to be, and spending over 40 hours exploring Hogwarts Castle, rescuing magical beasts, and decorating my room of requirement, amongst hundreds of things. It has now been a year since the game came out, and following a second playthrough, I'd like to share my thoughts. This is my review of Hogwarts Legacy. Players control a fifth-year student attending Hogwarts for the first time. Set in the 1800s, long before Harry Potter's birth, a war happened between goblins and wizards. This main story was interesting and had memorable gameplay moments, but compared to the side quests, it was a flawed spell. The side characters included students and teachers at Hogwarts, and they had engaging quests and captivating storylines more memorable than the main story. That is not to imply that the main story was terrible. In fact, it started off strong, introducing the concept of ancient magic. A battle of good and evil ensues, and the origins of a hero's journey, all intertwining with the tutorials of gameplay. As more characters were introduced, and main story progression can only be achieved by completing said side quests, I had spent more time with this wider cast of characters. You can build friendships with other students at Hogwarts, including Natsai, a Gryffindor seeking justice against dark wizards, Poppy, a Hufflepuff rescuing magical beasts from poachers, and Amit, a Ravenclaw historian-to-be with a passion for astrology. My favourite interaction was with Sebastian from Slytherin House. His storyline involving dark magic and his conflict with morality captivated me the most, and even rewarded me by learning the unforgivable curses. The professors at Hogwarts were a delightful bunch too. Among them included Headmaster Phineas Black, Mirabelle Garlick, specialising in herbology, Denai Hecat, the Defence Against the Dark Arts teacher, and Matilda Weasley, the deputy headmistress at Hogwarts. Professor Fig becomes your ally during the main story. He was a charming and helpful companion, building a relationship similar to Dumbledore's and Harry Potter's. Their classrooms reflected their distinctive personalities, and participating in their classes were essential to learning key spells, rewarded with new resources, and upgrading magical abilities. Then there are the villains. Despite the main story not being the game's strongest element, the characters were entertaining. Victor Rookwood, a leader of a group of dark wizards, and Ranrock, a greedy, vengeful goblin, led the rebellion against wizards. Apart from dark wizards and evil poachers, players may come across on their journey other dangerous creatures including trolls, giant spiders, and dugbogs. There are many opportunities to engage in the quests available to progress through the story, as some are expected to reach a specific level and or learn a specific spell. It opens the door to interact with other characters and learn about their backstories. Every quest felt episodic. Every side quest I felt I wanted to complete before finishing the main story, not only because they contributed to my character's stats, but also because they were just as fun, if not more fun, than the main story itself. As someone who does not like doing many side missions, Hogwarts Legacy was an exception. This goes to show how incredible the side missions were. They shaped the world of Hogwarts Legacy more fully lived in. As it's clearly obvious, Hogwarts Legacy primarily takes place at Hogwarts Castle. Developer Avalanche Software has done the most incredible job of bringing the castle's finest details to life. I spent the first 2 hours just walking through every hallway, every classroom, and even the bathrooms. Harry Potter fans will be delighted to locate hundreds of Easter eggs scattered across, referencing both the films and the books. During traversal, collecting field pages provided fun trivia, additional backstory, and magical lore. I recommend trying finding them all. It is a fun exercise while exploring this expansive and detailed world. You can see the amount of work the developers had put into creating the most beautiful castle I had ever explored in a video game. I can get lost for hours walking through these halls. I must mention that in my first playthrough, I was sorted into Hufflepuff House. Players do have the choice to change houses if they wish to. For my second playthrough, I decided to choose Slytherin. Apart from the iconic common rooms, there are little differences in gameplay. Only one notable side quest differs depending on house choice. To my surprise as a Hufflepuff, I was not prepared to make a little side trip to Azkaban, and not for the reasons you think. Perhaps what surprised me the most about Hogwarts Legacy was the open world map. I was already amazed by the castle. I could not imagine that there would be more. Hogsmeade was a cute village to visit, and the Forbidden Forest delivered its scary and mysterious vibes. The more the open world map opened, the more I was in awe. I had no idea there was more to explore until I rode on my broomstick and flew as far as the game could take me. To visit every location in its impressive graphic presentation was truly mind-blowing. Again, I would get lost for hours just flying above this expansive world. A field guide map is provided to players earlier in the game, making navigation easier. You can also pinpoint a location, and that will also give directions on where and how far to go. Otherwise, quick travel is also available through Floo powder stations. Finding every station is ideal to begin with. It makes getting to side missions a lot quicker. I mentioned flying earlier, and Quidditch was a missed opportunity Avalanche Software did not include in Hogwarts Legacy. While that disappointed many hopeful fans, it did not bother me at all. There was still so much to do in the game that a cancelled season of Quidditch was not a big deal. Additionally, I was not perfectly skilled at flying on my broomstick. It does take a lot of practice to get the momentum right. Hogwarts Legacy is described as a role-playing game. Players can customize their character, including hairstyles and costumes. Progressing through the story unlocks new spells, potions to brew, and combat abilities. Speaking of combat, it is fast and fluid, with players having the flexibility to choose from a wide range of spells. In Hogwarts Legacy, spells are categorized in color. For example, yellow spells are control spells, such as Levioso, levitating objects. Red spells are damage spells, such as Bombarda, dealing heavy damage. And green spells are the unforgivable curses. When in combat, enemies including dark wizards will use coloured shields in defense. Matching shield colours with spell colours to attack will break those shields. So players must be quick on their feet when switching between spells. Thankfully, the controller mechanic can be set up in any way the player feels comfortable. For me, I had adapted to using the PlayStation buttons as colour references during quick combat situations. Spells can also be used to solve puzzles. Players will need to locate secret areas of the world map, including Hogwarts Castle, by unlocking doors. For example, light blue spells are utility spells, such as Lumos, to provide extra light in darkness, and light green spells are transfiguration spells, such as the Altering spell, to use in your room of requirement. The Room of Requirement became one of my favourite features in Hogwarts Legacy. I spent a lot of time decorating and redecorating my room as I progressed through the story. Completing character and story missions offered rewards for your room, including architecture, decorations, and a loom to upgrade gear. I highly recommend unlocking your Room of Requirement as soon as possible. It becomes your secret base to brew special potions, grow plants, and care for your magical beasts. There are a total of 13 magical beasts in Hogwarts Legacy. My favourite beasts included the Jubberknoll, the Fwooper, and the Phoenix. But my personal favourite was the Puffskein. Caring for your beasts will reward you with materials to upgrade your spells and gear too. Interacting by brushing and feeding your beasts also gives players the most adorable animation. Even giving them a ball to play with was a delightful treat. Other beasts can be mounted for traversal apart from your broomstick. They include the Graphorn, the Thestral, and my favourite, the Hippogriff. It was truly a wonderful experience riding these magnificent creatures. Each of them differs in terms of traversal, but part of the experience with these beasts is rescuing them, which can be easily retrieved and safely placed in the hubs of your Room of Requirement. The soundtrack of Hogwarts Legacy elevated my magical gameplay experience. Composers Peter Murray, J. Scott Rakozy, and Chuck E. Meyers delivered a breathtaking score, reminiscent of John Williams' memorable film score. Many moments during gameplay took my breath away because of the music. Whether it was flying on my broomstick, wandering around Hogwarts Castle, intense boss fights, emotional character scenes, or even visiting Hogsmeade, this enchanting score has officially made my Spotify list. I would listen to it in my downtime to relax or assist in my writing. I encourage anyone to at least give it a listen. It is, without a doubt, that a lot of love and dedication by the developers at Avalanche Software was put into creating Hogwarts Legacy. I still have so much to unlock and explore. It even requires multiple playthroughs to fully experience the game. That is not to say the game was technically perfect. During my first playthrough, I experienced multiple bugs, including visual glitches, slow loading of textures, and inconsistent frame rates, but gathered how much work and effort was put into creating such a massive open world, I give the developers the benefit of the doubt. I cannot imagine any other better way to do it. Considering how big the game is, your PlayStation 5 does require a 65 gig download and update, so be sure to have plenty of room. It is worth it in the end. It is up there as one of the most gorgeous, detailed, open world video games I have ever played. Speaking of visuals, despite this game not having a photo mode option, to my greatest disappointment, there are ways to still capture amazing screenshots. By deselecting settings, I have managed to compile together a couple of screenshots I am proud to share. Again, this goes to show how beautiful this game visually looks. As of recording, there had been multiple updates and additional content offered, particularly for PlayStation players. Haunted Hogsmeade was one of those exclusives. Without revealing too much, this special side quest is not to be missed. The Dark Arts Battle Arena is an expandable collection, where players have access to battle arenas, a new clothing set, and a special mount. I have just played these for the first time, and they were so much fun to play. I am thankful Avalanche Software provided extra material to play with, on top of everything they had already created. Gathered the controversy surrounding Hogwarts Legacy at the time of its release, I did not let it stop me from at least trying the game out. Avalanche Software delivered one of the most visually stunning video games. I believe the studio did its best to create a rich and diverse world that represented all groups of people. It was among my favorite video games of 2023. During my second playthrough, I am glad to have returned. I had just as much of a magical time as my first. I will most definitely be keeping this one in my physical collection. Anyone who is not even familiar with video games should at least give Hogwarts Legacy a look. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Hogwarts Legacy is now available on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And that is my review of Hogwarts Legacy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out my channel for more reviews. What is your take on Hogwarts Legacy? And if so, which house were you in? Feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching. This is Pearl, signing out.